What's happening, boat gang? It has been quite a while since I've been able to upload frequently. Work has been going non-stop, and a couple of people who actually watch this channel watch my main channel, but I've been putting a lot of energy into my main channel, which is just H2O Mechanic. So if you're new here and you don't know that I have a main channel, go check that out. That's what I do for work. But I've got some stuff for the vintage outboard, and I want to share it with you. Alright, so this is the boat that we're working on. If you remember catching the last video where we disassembled it and kind of went over it, I've had a couple people tell me that it's a Panther Lapcat 2. I've had a couple other people tell me that it's an Aero Marine, if I'm correct on that. I don't really know what it is, but we've got it gutted, and it came with the K&B 7.5. So this is the bottom end unit. In the previous video, we disassembled the engine and got it completely torn down. So this is basically, you know, the engine, block, the bottom case, connecting rod, all that. I didn't want to go super duper in depth in it, but the more I looked at it, the worse the bearing situation was. So I opted to buy new bearings, and sourcing parts for a 40-year-old Nitro engine is absolutely crazy. On top of that, they make this engine in like 4 to 5 different variants. So you don't know if you've got a 12mm crankshaft, a 15mm crankshaft, or a 17mm crankshaft. It's just absolutely crazy. So I've got it all torn apart here, and I'm going to show you all the parts that I got and where I got them from, to where you can get an understanding and an idea of what's to come for this setup. So the first thing that I got, all these right here, are bearings. So we've got 2 bearings here. There's the part number for it. There's a bearing, and then there's another bearing. So the motor itself, I believe, takes something like 4 or 5 bearings, and then we have, this is a washer for the carburetor. Here are some new flex cables. These came off of eBay, and then these right here were new old stock listed on eBay from the same seller. So I went ahead and just bought what he had. Now, after I did the research on the engine itself that's sitting in that little parts bucket right there, I found a website online. What was it called? I'm trying to see. Model Engine Company of America. That was the MECOA. So they had all the parts listed on the site, and they do a really good job explaining it on the website. So that is the engine that we have, the 7.5 Pro, I believe. Now, these were not cheap, okay? Were not cheap. I'm gonna be completely honest and transparent here. Let me show you to where you don't see my address. That's how much all these parts cost. This little pile right in front of you, $139. But I will say this, these parts are all correct and perfect. So let's take a look. We got a new flex cable, and we got a liner, and we got some grease. So we're good there. These are head gaskets, bearing, a bearing, and this is a bearing. So these are going to be your backside bearings for your shaft. That'll be the nose bearing for the snout. These are your gaskets. This was the specialty bearing that we needed all along. This is, I believe, an 1.125" outside diameter by 15mm inside diameter. It is absolutely a crazy, crazy size. See, 1.125 OD, 15mm ID. Crazy, crazy size. So just these parts, these are what I needed, but we didn't get the snout. So if you remember When I was trying to take this apart, the ear on this broke off. So that was my dilemma, that I was worried about it leaking. Now I believe it'll seal pretty good. Even if I had to use this, I think it would still work. I just don't like the idea of it, but we'll see. Now that we have these parts covered, I want to show you what I found after I had ordered this. So this, thanks to Fred hooked me up because he had, it doesn't matter. He had basically talked to me on the phone and was like, hey, you know, parts and this and that and the third, and was sending me links to eBay. Well, this eBay seller here did not list it correctly, so it was hard to find. But boy, oh boy, once I found it, it was not a buy it now situation. It was a you can bid on it if you want situation. So I paid $40 for everything in this box, okay? I just want to go through it with you and kind of show you the amass of stuff. So we got cylinder sleeves there. We got pistons and connecting rods here. Oh, look, check that out. That is unique. We got one front snout, three more snouts. Now all these are different. If you look at it, I think this one is similar to ours, but then this one's got a smaller hole, and then this one's got a smaller hole. But a lot of different variations of stuff, which is cool. I just wanted to kind of, you know, show you all this. Actually, no, this part here did come with this right here. I believe, yeah. Then we have maybe we have the bearing we needed right here. Then we have some smaller bearings here. We have some different style and size connecting rods. Okay. These are all water-cooled heads. Different heads. Very cool. Set that there. Crankshafts with bearings on them. 2. Multiple screw kits. All these are the organized screws of what seems to be 4 engines that have been taken apart. Then we have brand new old stock gaskets. And that looks like part of the carburetor and another gasket. Okay, we'll set that down. I believe this is probably a tool that the gentleman made to help pull the motor together when it's time for assembly. This looks like some sort of baffle maybe for an exhaust. I really don't know. Let's see what else is in here. I haven't went this far. Only thing I did was open the box and look at the couple on top. So here are some bottoms of the base of the engines. Remember, I got all this for 40 bucks. This is crazy. So we've got the end bells, back side of the engines, some of the front. These are your studs for the front of the engine. Looks like a carburetor right there. That'll be cool. Now we have 2 different carburetors we can try and tune. Okay. What else do we have down here? Just more goodies, man. More goodies. This says K&B 7.5 GH parts. Looks like an older style block than the one we have. Pull that out and look at that. Yep. That engine's a torpedo. That's pretty slick. Okay, we'll set that there. A lot of this stuff I don't need, but it was hard to pass up 40 bucks. And since I was bidding on it, you didn't know whether you're going to get it or not. That's pretty neat. The back of that engine. Let's see. Yeah, it still spins. Okay, that's probably all part of that engine right there. just dump this out. That's cool. So see the difference? See that crankshaft, how small it is? We'll come over here and get this one. We'll just hold the two side by side. Isn't that crazy? The different variations. I had scratched that a little bit when I tried to bite it, but I got it smoothed down with some 800 grit and some 1500 grit. So hopefully it won't cause an issue. But there's another snout. There's some more gaskets. There's another piston. These are all head gaskets. I don't know what is inside of that film case. Let's go ahead and open that up now. Huh. Brand new. Brand new sleeve and piston. That is slick, dude. Yeah. Looks like it's got a ring around it. Maybe. No, no compression ring. Now that I've actually seen it. This is just like a little wiper right there. I don't know if these things take rings or not. Looks like there's a groove for a ring. But what a unique design of a piston. Isn't that cool? I've never seen something with some crazy lip like that. But that's got to be to help the whole port situation. Not sure which way that it goes. But that is cool. And it's definitely tight as it gets to the top. So, very neat. Very neat. Let's see if we can get that to go back in. No. We'll just set that back in there for now. And then I'll be able to go through all this in a little while. Racing HD4PL NW. Looks like it says spare maybe. But that's it. So we got this hoard of parts for $40. And we got this for $140. Isn't that absolutely crazy? Now the reason why I bought this for 40 bucks was because I noticed this bearing in the picture and I noticed all these gaskets in the picture. And I noticed when he had this opened up, all the new old stock stuff. And I was sitting there looking at that website and I'm like, man, all these things, like, you know, something like this or this, all these like 11 bucks, 11 bucks, 11 bucks, 11 bucks, and 11 bucks. Like you just keep adding and it just seemed more cost, you know, prohibitive to just buy this. Okay, here's some rings. Yeah, those are piston rings right there. This is going to be cool. We'll get this old vintage thing up and running. Now, drop your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Because this is crazy. There's a lot going on here. That's why I haven't made this video yet. Because it was just so much to take in. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of people who are like diehard and want me to have this thing running on nitromethane. So what I'm telling you is I'm going to try my best. I am not going to give up too easy. I'm going to try really hard to have this run on nitromethane. Now, if I'm unable to get it to fire, right? That's what this box is for. All right, so inside of this all came from Zip Kits, all right? This is our conversion plate for the K&B 7.5 to where we can then put an electric conversion kit on this boat. So in the situation where it doesn't work, we can use this Fly Color 150 and this conversion plate. We'll put this conversion plate on the bottom of that outboard and we'll make her run. So that may be, it's definitely going to happen. It will get converted to electric, but I really want to try to get it to run on Nitro first. And then we'll get a lot of basis, we'll figure out what props and stuff like that. That way we'll have ran some Nitro on the channel, and I'll get a little bit of understanding of boats and Nitro and stuff like that. Because I used to love Nitro cars, but then I took about a 15-year hiatus and didn't buy anything for a while. And then I got into the boats and introduced to brushless. So since we're going that route, I had to go to a local hobby shop. And it's about an hour and a half from me, and I got some Nitro fuel line. I got 2 feet of it. Went ahead and bought a glow plug. Not sure if this one will work, but it was what they had. It's just a Traxxas glow plug. We'll see in a little bit if that fits. And then we got a little AA glow igniter. Hopefully it'll be enough juice to fire up the glow plug. And then over there I've got some 25% nitromethane. I think it's 12% castrol. So we should have enough to get this thing all put back together. Now another thing that I found frustrating, and I didn't know this until like literally 2 nights ago, I was cleaning the motor really well, and I decided to put my finger over this port and then blow into here, and then come to find out I actually had a crack in this all along, and I could have totally ordered a new one of these, but the problem is I'm not even going to do that. It's a hairline crack right there. You see that? That crack runs right along that. And I thought this was in good shape. And I could try to bend one of these, but for me, it's just too much of a hassle. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tie into the back of this with one of my already existing cooling things, and I'll adapt it over. It'll come up, and then I'll put a piece of flex hose here and then run it over, because it was picking up here and then it was discharging here, right there. The exhaust comes out the back, so the idea of not having this as like flexible tubing, because it's going to melt it, so we can actually come up with the hard nipple up to here, and then we'll be able to do that. Or we could just come off the back of the boat with a pickup. I mean, it just doesn't matter. But we'll figure out one way or another. I just wanted to kind of take you along the full entirety of all this, you know. So now that I've gotten all the parts spread out, I'm going to go ahead and start looking through them and see what I can use and start the process of setting the engine up in kind of like a builder station. And I need to set all the parts out individually, in, you know, perpetuation from the front to the rear. And things have to go on in order, because things like the crankshaft need to go in the freezer, and then the bearings are going to probably have to get put maybe in like my toaster oven to where I can actually get them to slip on. I've built 2-stroke engines in the past, and a lot of it was based on heating stuff up. You know, you heat up the bell or something like that to where you can pop the bearing in and then let it cool back down to room temperature, so on and so forth. It's, you know, tight tolerances, so that's what you get. You don't want to ruin anything, so by popping this in the freezer, we'll shrink it, you know, 1 or 2 thousandths, and then by popping a bearing in my toaster oven to say 200 degrees Fahrenheit, might expand it, and then it will slide right on. So just a lot of time-consuming stuff. And now that it's been about a month and a half since I've actually taken this apart, it's going to be even more time-consuming because I don't have all of this imagery in my head. So I don't want to mess anything up, but it looks to me like I have plenty of parts to choose from in the event that we aren't able to make the original one work. I think there's enough here to make another one work. So let me know what you think in the comment section below, and we will see y'all on the next one. Peace.